I recently returned from a trip to Tokyo, and it was one of the best experiences I've had so far. Before the trip, I knew virtually nothing about Japan's tourist attractions, other than Mount Fuji. I've always been fascinated by the Sengoku period of Japanese history and Japan's role in World War II, but beyond that, I knew very little about the country. In some ways, that lack of knowledge helped me enjoy the sights and attractions even more. I purposely kept my expectations low. All my friends and family who visited Japan absolutely loved it, so I knew I was in for a treat. But I didn't want to go in with unrealistic expectations. I wanted to experience everything naturally. As a result, I was constantly blown away. It was truly a magical experience. I wanted to thank my friends who graciously shared their itineraries with me. You know who you are. It was cool to see what places they had listed, and it helped me organize and plan for my trip. I won't dive into the day-to-day details and activities of my trip, but I think it'd be fun to talk about the various districts I explored and highlight the major attractions. I'm going to butcher the pronunciations of certain Japanese words, so please go easy on me. I stayed in Ueno, right next to the Miyoko shopping district, and it was fantastic. I'll let the cat out of the bag now. It's probably my favorite place I visited. Some of that may be confirmation bias, since it was my home base, but it's still an incredible district. There's a large, beautiful park in the north filled with museums, including the Tokyo National Museum, which I visited. While Ueno Station seemed smaller than the other major stations like Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Tokyo Station, it still had plenty going on. There was a mall, an elevated platform offering views of a major intersection, and easy access to Ueno Park. And Miyoko Shopping District was right behind my hotel. It's a sprawling outdoor market spanning roughly 5 blocks by 5 blocks. It gets pretty crowded from late morning to evening, and offers a wide variety of shops and eateries. You can find stores selling tea, matcha, luggage, clothing, herbs, and souvenirs. There are plenty of izakayas, ramen shops, and snack bars, and many of these food options are right under the train tracks, so kind of a cool thing about this district is a lot of the shops kind of are next to it or right under it, and it's kind of like a picturesque moment of people eating, enjoying themselves as the train rumbles by. There are barber shops also, arcades, cafes, and mini malls. For my fellow San Franciscans, imagine a mix of Grant Avenue and Stockton Street in Chinatown, but way cleaner and busier. Ueno is a convenient area for transportation. My hotel was bordered by Okachimachi Station 3 blocks to the south and Ueno Station 2 blocks to the north. These stations offered direct access to most of the major tourist spots I explored, and I think I only had to transfer lines maybe once or twice throughout my entire trip from Ueno. It was really the perfect neighborhood for me. It's not as crowded as Shibuya or Shinjuku, but still lively and full of excitement. It pretty much has everything, but condensed into a smaller area. Staying there was definitely a great decision. I'm going to make a quick pivot to the concept of the home base. I stayed in Tokyo for 9 nights, with all 9 being in Ueno. Now, I have friends who moved around and stayed at different parts of the city during their visits, and there's nothing wrong with that. It gives you an opportunity to visit and stay in a completely different area. At least for me, there's something really special about coming back to Ueno every night. Like I said, it's not as crowded and crazy as Shinjuku and Shibuya, but still lively and full of great food places. The buildings aren't as tall, and it's a tad slower paced. Coming back for dinner every night felt like being back at your home neighborhood instead of a place where your hotel just happened to be in. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. Now, Akihabara is another fantastic district. Everyone raves about it for being an anime and manga haven. I don't watch anime or read manga at all, but I still had a great time there. There are tons of malls, model kit shops, and little quirky stores to explore. Due to time constraints, I was only there from the early morning to the mid-afternoon, but Akihabara is definitely a place I plan to revisit. It was about 20 to 25 minutes walking from my hotel, so it was really cool to just see the transition from Ueno to Akihabara. I visited Tokyo Dome on the same day as Akihabara. I'm a huge baseball fan, so this was a must-see for me. The baseball season was over, so I didn't try to go into the stadium where the field was, but actually, it probably wasn't accessible anyways. What's remarkable about Tokyo Dome isn't the actual stadium, but the complex that the dome is part of. Tokyo Dome City contains the stadium, shops, a mall, an amusement park, a theater, and an almost 24/7 spa. It's like Chase Arena's Thrive City, except 10 times bigger. Asakusa is home to one of Japan's most famous tourist attractions, Sensoji, a large temple. I didn't even know the name of this place until I started researching my trip. I just knew it was famous because every single friend of mine who visited Tokyo had a photo there. I actually walked to Asakusa from my hotel, which took about 40 minutes with a detour for coffee. The area was packed with tourists, but I didn't mind. Now, the neighborhood around the temple complex is filled with food stalls, izakayas, shops, and bars. I wish I'd explored more of this area, because it really has this kind of a more relaxed atmosphere, along with some tourist attractions, similar to Ueno. But I wanted to explore Tokyo Skytree on the same day. Tokyo Skytree was an incredible, unbelievable experience. The views from the observation deck were spectacular, and I was glad I came here during the late afternoon / early evening when the lights of Tokyo came on. Ginza was another district I visited. I actually spent 2 days there because my first visit was cut short by severe foot pain. It's best described as Tokyo's version of a traditional downtown. Imagine San Francisco's financial district, but instead of office buildings, it's all malls. Almost every building seemed to house a multi-level shopping complex. It kind of feels soulless in a way, but it's huge and it has a lot to offer in terms of shopping and food. There were some notable places I went to here: Tsukiji Outer Market, Tokyo Station, and Marunouchi Square, and the outer garden of the Imperial Palace. I didn't get to fully explore Shinjuku / Kabukicho. It's known for its famous nightlife and red light district, but I visited on a weeknight during the early evening, and the streets were surprisingly quiet. And so that's probably my fault. Even Kabukicho Tower, which I believe to be a popular landmark, it felt eerily empty, which was a little disappointing. However, there were some highlights. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building offered exceptional and free views of the city. It was much less crowded than Tokyo Skytree, making it easier to enjoy the view and take pictures. I definitely need to return when it gets rowdier. Shibuya was one of the last neighborhoods I visited. I got off at Yoyogi Station and made my way to Meiji Jingu, a shrine dedicated to Emperor Meiji. It's nestled in a large park with towering trees and a mix of wide and narrow roads. The park is beautiful and very walkable. I don't know if it was the trees or the morning dew, but it was quite humid within the park, but it wasn't unbearable or nasty in any way. There's also the Meiji Jingu Inner Garden, a secluded park within the larger park. For a 500 yen entrance fee, which is insanely cheap, you can explore attractions like the famous Kiyomasa's Well, an iris garden, a tea house, a pond, and a fishing spot. It almost felt like a hidden gem because the entrance wasn't immediately obvious. And for 500 yen, I think it's well worth it for the sights that you get to see. I exited the park on the southeastern side and went into Takashita Street. Social media portrays Takashita Street as a really trendy and hip area for young people with quirky stores, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. The street is narrow and packed shoulder to shoulder with people, which I did not enjoy very much. I did try Marion Crepes, a crepe shop on Takashita Street, which was on my friend's itinerary. I had wait for it, the strawberry, banana, chocolate, vanilla, ice cream, whipped cream crepe. It was delicious, but maybe a little overhyped. I also forgot to mention that when I came to Shibuya, I took the train and I decided to go into the first car where the conductor sat. I stood right behind the conductor as he was driving the train and looked out the window that the conductor used. And it was awesome just to watch as the train moved from station to station throughout Tokyo, just to see what the sights were, how smoothly the train went, stopping for all the different people at the stations. And that is, if you're into the trains like I am, it was a really great experience. Anyways, after Takashita Street, I went to Cat Street. Unlike Takashita Street, Cat Street was much more my style. The roads are wider and less crowded, and the area feels cleaner. Most of the stores are clothing focused, and I snagged some Japanese denim from Pure Blue Japan at the northern end of the street. I personally enjoy this area very much. I continued on this path for about a mile until I took a detour to Hertz, a leather bag shop and factory. Heading south from Hertz, I ended up in Momotaro Jeans, another popular Japanese denim store, and picked up a pair of beautiful jeans. Momotaro is inside a mall on a major street, and I took this street all the way down to Shibuya Crossing, one of Tokyo's most famous attractions. It's considered the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. I'm probably going to get eviscerated for this, but Shibuya Crossing is a little overhyped. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful and stunning, especially at night, but I think social media has portrayed it as this grand and opulent place. It's definitely smaller than what TikTok and influencers make it out to be. And, it's fun for sure, but a little overrated in my view. If I had to rate each neighborhood I visited just for fun, from favorite to least favorite, it would be Number 1, Ueno, for reasons I stated earlier. Great transportation, food, and slower paced than the other neighborhoods, but still offering a lot. Number 2, Shibuya, for the diversity like Meiji Jingu, Harajuku, and the Shibuya Crossing area. Number 3, Ginza, mainly for the shopping options. Number 4, Asakusa, chiller vibes like Ueno, but had the beautiful temples and Sumida Park. Number 5, Akihabara. I think Akihabara was great, but I didn't get a chance to fully explore it. And number 6, Shinjuku. This is last because I came on a weeknight when it wasn't as lively, so I definitely need to explore more of it. Now please note that this is all very subjective. Each neighborhood was awesome, so even if I rated something low, it doesn't mean that it was bad. It just meant that I didn't explore it enough, or I went at a poor time. I've only scratched the surface, so this is purely, this is just rating something just for the sake of rating something. Now switching gears, learning a bit of Japanese definitely enhanced my travel experience. I wasn't on a strict study schedule, but I used a flashcard app to study useful phrases for restaurants, shops, and even small talk. Asking for recommendations in Japanese was the MVP of the trip. It hard carried me through every restaurant and even souvenir shopping. People seemed genuinely happy to see someone making an attempt to speak their language, and I got lots of smiles using my spotty Japanese and Japanglish. It was a really fun and rewarding challenge. You're doing it out of personal enjoyment and utility, and not to take a test or to pass a class. Now, it's possible to visit Tokyo without knowing any Japanese at all, and I'm sure many of my friends have done so without issue. Personally, I found it grating hearing people speak English and expecting the other person to understand, and then speaking louder or slower if they don't. If they didn't understand you the first time, I doubt saying it in English again will help. Japan was amazing, but I do have one minor complaint. Trash cans are hard to find. I know you're supposed to carry your trash with you, but it's still a hassle lugging around empty bottles and snack wrappers. I ended up relying on convenience stores to dispose of my trash. I definitely plan to return to Tokyo. While many people recommend visiting Kyoto or Osaka, I had such a blast in Tokyo that I want to go back. It's such a massive city that it feels like I've only scratched the surface. Beyond the tourist attractions, there are countless neighborhoods and suburbs left to explore. This trip was unforgettable, and I hope to keep the magic alive with another visit.